Good morning and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today we're going to start pepper seeds. And these are my 4 top peppers, 1 sweet and 3 hot. So we're going to use some soil blocks, 2-inch. And I've already made a tray full. I'm using this 10 by 10 strong, sturdy bootstrap farmer tray. It's going to hold 25 soil blocks. My top pepper. Now my 3 spicy peppers, those seeds are originally from Botanical Interests. I love that seed company. They have the most beautiful packets with so much information. And their website even has growing guides. Now this early jalapeno, it is an heirloom. But the red and yellow cayenne, those are hybrids. But I've successfully saved all of these seeds for about, 10 years. I'm only growing a few spicy peppers. I don't need very many. 1 plant makes an abundance. Last year I didn't even grow any at all, because in 1 year I grow about 2 years worth of peppers. But I'm out. I tend to dehydrate them and use them as pepper flakes. So we gotta grow some more. Now if it's warm enough, these should germinate in about 4 to 7 days. If it's not warm enough, it might take 20 days. So hopefully the heat mat will help. Good morning and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today we're going to pot up sweet and hot peppers. Now I've already prepared my 4-inch pots with soil. And I've left them on the heat mat to keep the soil warm. Now the soil we're using today is Pro Mix Organic Garden potting soil. It's recommended to start your pepper seeds 8 to 10 weeks before your last frost. I started these seeds 11 weeks before my last frost. Now the sweet peppers are done and I have a few hot peppers. These are all my own saved seeds. So we have early jalapenos and we have 3 red cayenne. The yellow cayenne, they didn't germinate, but that's okay. I'm not going to sow anymore. These 5 plants will be enough. They're going to be heavy producers. Now I'm going to start hardening them off to get them used to the weather, the wind, the sun, and the temperature after our last frost. Here in north central Maryland, that means the beginning of May. And we're going to put them out into the garden 2 to 4 weeks after the last frost. So here, that's mid-May or after Mother's Day. Now always use warm water because cold water is going to cause cold shock. I've done it in the past. Good morning and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today it's time to harden off our sweet and spicy peppers. These pepper plants are 10 weeks old. I potted them up from 2-inch soil blocks 7 weeks ago. Today, they're only going to be outside for 2 hours because they're not used to the sun and the wind and the temperature yet. Then they're going to come back inside under these lights here in the living room because these have the taller shelves. Every day, we're going to increase the amount of time that they spend outside. If you hear any noise, that's Dale upstairs, working right up there in his office. I'm going to start hardening them off in a protected area where there's less sun and wind. And every day, expose them to more and more sun. More wind. These are all grown from my own saved seeds. Spicy jalapeno peppers and red cayenne peppers. These are ready to come outside. Now I mentioned that I plan to remove the blossoms, but I decided I'm going to leave them. The fruit too. We'll see what happens after we transplant. We'll see if they fall off. I eat sweet peppers twice a week. I'm able to grow a whole year's worth here in my small garden. I tend to eat them fresh, then slice the rest and freeze them. Now, I'm going to harden these off 7 to 10 days. And I'm going to wait if the morning's too cold to bring them outside. They really don't like temperatures below 60. They're too tall for the shelf. They all, though, need a good drink of water. I'm going to need to protect them from digging squirrels and slugs. You want to plant out your peppers 2 to 4 weeks after your last frost. I'm going to use all that I can possibly fit I only grow in a 600 square foot garden, including the back and the front. But if I have any left over that I can't use, I'll put them out on the community shelf that I have behind the garage. Good morning and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today it's time to plant out our hot peppers now that nighttime temperatures are above 55. Now we're planting them in the front because I want to save the seeds and I don't want the sweet peppers and the hot peppers to cross. Now I have two varieties and they're both heirloom. I have red cayenne peppers and early jalapeno peppers. These seedlings are 13 weeks old and they've already hardened off for 2 weeks. Now they're going to grow 2 feet tall and about 1 to 2 feet wide. So you want to space your peppers 18 to 24 inches apart. Now I've already measured and I've dug my holes 18 inches apart for my 5 plants. I've put them between the tomatoes and the marigolds. Now, why are these covered? It's because birds are pulling the leaves off of the tomatoes and the marigolds. Hopefully, the tomatoes are going to make it. The marigolds will be just fine. Now, if you're planting in rows, you want to space those 24 to 36 inches apart, but I don't have that kind of space here. You can see we're downtown in the city. So I measured and it's about 32 inches from the tomatoes and about 18 inches from the marigolds. Now this is a very hot spot of the garden, so that's perfect for peppers. They love full sun. Now peppers in general, they're light feeders. I don't plan to feed my peppers. And hot peppers grow so fast, they don't suffer, at least mine don't, from blossom end rot. You know, when the bottom part of the pepper gets soft and then it just kind of rots away, that happens to bigger peppers. Now, you only need a few hot pepper plants because they're very prolific and you want to harvest them often. These 5 plants, I tend to dry my peppers and make, hot pepper flakes. This is going to last me for a good 2 years. Peppers are like tomatoes. You can plant them deeper and the stems will develop roots. But I'm not going to do that because the deeper you plant the roots, the colder. And peppers like the heat. So I'm just going to plant it level with the top of the pot. I don't think birds are going to pick these, but I do have some hoops and some netting as a backup. So I'm going to keep my eye on them, but squirrels and robins will dig in this area. So I need to surround the stem with some hardware cloth and secure it with landscape pins. And I don't think slugs are going to bother them, but I'm going to go ahead and add some Sluggo. It's going to be good for all these strawberries. It is organic and it won't hurt the animals or the birds. And I'm putting it under the mulch because the birds love this stuff and they'll just peck it all away. Now if you see any holes in the leaves, the weather just got cold again and the plants got stressed out, and I suspect it was whiteflies that did it, but I'm not sure. But it's warming up and these plants should grow quickly. Bugs, their job is to clean up struggling plants. Now, peppers are going to need support. I tend to use just a simple garden stake. I have a variety of sizes. Later, as it grows, I'll probably secure it with a zip tie. And I'm also going to put a cage around it for support. It also blocks me from accidentally stepping on my plants. Now, we're going to water it in because we don't want any air trapped in the roots. Then for 7 days, we're going to make sure it's watered every day or rained on. Then once the roots are established, you want to water 1 inch a week, but water deep and infrequently. It's better to water deep once than a little bit every day. They don't like their feet wet. Good morning and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. It's the end of July and it's time for our first hot pepper harvest. The hot peppers really struggled in the cold spring, but several heat waves have helped these two red cayenne peppers finally reach their proper height. They're about 2 feet tall. The early jalapeno peppers, they're still tiny. I suspect it's because they're getting less sun over there. Now they're about 1 feet, and they should be about 3 feet tall, but I do see one pepper. I was wrong. There's actually 6 fruit. I prefer them to turn red, so I'm just going to leave them for now. Now there's one cayenne in the middle that's really tiny. I think this plant next door to it is shading it out. We'll see what happens to it. Now, in my past garden tours, I got these plants reversed. I thought the jalapeno were first and the cayenne were second. Oops. Now, the first 7 days after I transplanted these, I did water them, but I haven't watered them since. I take a low maintenance approach to my hot peppers. I also don't feed them, and they don't require cow mag because they don't suffer from blossom end rot since the peppers are so small and grow so fast. Now these are heirloom peppers, and I save my own seeds. That's the reason I put my sweet peppers in the back and my spicy peppers in the front. But it is possible these spicy peppers can cross-pollinate. I'm curious if this plant is a cross between a jalapeno and a cayenne. I'm interested to see if it has a thicker wall. I don't mind if they cross. To me, hot peppers are hot peppers. Now let's bring them indoors, and I'm going to show you how I dry them. It is very simple, so easy. I simply snip them and let them air dry. Later, I'll grind them into a hot pepper powder. The wall was a little bit thicker, and the skin is smooth, not bumpy like the cayenne. I suspect they have crossed. Now, if you're sensitive to peppers, make sure you use gloves. Good morning and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today it's time to harvest the hot peppers. If you want them at their peak of spiciness, wait until they change color. These are red cayenne peppers. If you prefer a milder pepper, you're going to want to harvest them while they're still green. Now be careful and don't touch your face. The spicy oil on the peppers will spread. If you're concerned, you can wear gloves. hot peppers are so prolific, I don't grow them every year. I just grow them every few years. Now you want to harvest them when they turn from green to red. That'll help the plant to keep producing peppers. I waited because I want a bunch ready at the same time to make a beautiful pepper string. Spicy peppers don't require much care. I don't feed them, I don't water them, they just take care of themselves. Now all summer I've been harvesting them, just snipping them onto a plate in the living room and leaving them to air dry. Later I'll go back and make them into a powder. It's just really simple. I don't even have to use the dehydrator. Now these last two plants are jalapenos, and they're not getting enough sun. They're being blocked by these marigolds. But I see a few peppers, so we're going to go ahead and harvest those too. Good afternoon and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today is our last chance to harvest our jalapeno peppers because tonight is our first frost. Now remember, we left these two plants because this summer our big beautiful marigolds were blocking their sun. Now, the cayenne peppers along this other side did well because they were a taller plant. But these two guys struggled, so we left them for last. Big or small, we're going to harvest them all. Both spicy, hot, and sweet peppers, you have to start inside under lights because they take a long time to grow. We started these way back in February, 8 months ago. Here in north central Maryland, we plant them out mid-May. Now, if they were in full sun, hot peppers are very prolific and they grow quickly. So I don't grow them every year. I tend to grow them every other year. This variety is heirloom early jalapenos. I tend to save my own seeds, But for jalapenos, you need to make sure they're ripe and red. We don't have any red ones, so when we're finishing harvesting, we're going to leave 1 or 2 on the plants, pull them up and hang them upside down in the garage and see if they'll ripen. If you want to save your own seeds, you're going to need to separate your sweet and spicy peppers because they will cross, and then next year when you grow your sweet peppers, they might be spicy. For that reason, spicy peppers go in the front and sweet peppers go in the back. We're going to go ahead and chop it up for the compost. We're going to leave that one to ripen. We're not going to chop this up. We're going to pull it up, leave the leaves and everything on it, and hang it in the garage. See here the cayenne that I hung up, and they've turned red. So I need to collect these and do a germination test. During COVID, I raised quail. This was their indoor bad weather housing. I raised them outdoors full time, but wow, they were fun, but a big responsibility. Did you see that young dove? It's been hanging around that area all alone.